If you're thinking about buying a home or you currently own a home, you're going to need to listen to this. It's going to be affecting millions of Americans. The other day, my husband and I were walking to our mailbox. We opened up the mailbox door, and what did we find out? That our homeowners insurance policy has been canceled, and we are scrambling trying to find new insurance. I've learned some lessons from this, and I want to share those with you because, this has turned into a real nightmare.
Hitting Florida homeowners where it hurts the most these days. Property insurance. We already pay at least 3 times the national average in premiums to insure our homes.
And I know that you've probably already seen the headlines in California and Florida that some of the biggest names in insurance have pulled out, but it's happening in Louisiana and Texas, and Oklahoma is seeing a rise in homeowners insurance itself. If your homeowners insurance policy is too much, it may bring you over the edge of being able to afford that payment in the first place. And if you can't get homeowners insurance, some states do have it available where they have like a citizen's insurance like they have in Florida where you can sign up because no other insurance policy will cover you. Louisiana has something similar, and each state has something set up that would equate to that, but it's awfully expensive. And in some cases, some families are facing the fact that they have no choice but to sell their house because they can't afford the homeowner's insurance.
Allstate has stopped accepting new policies in California because of wildfires, among other things.
A little piece of advice. If you are in the market and you're buying yourself your very first home or your second home, it doesn't matter. I want you to go ahead. The moment that you sign that purchase agreement, call an insurance broker to find out how much the insurance is going to be. Because I have had plenty of homes not close because once they got the cost of the insurance premiums, the whole thing was done because DTI, their debt to income ratio, was thrown off because the insurance was so incredibly high. And I know that when you're looking at a house, they'll have in the property disclosure, especially here in Louisiana, they'll even say how much they pay for homeowners insurance, but that doesn't mean that's what you're going to end up paying. So always be aware of that ahead of time. I know you're really excited, especially if you're buying your very first house, but the insurance is super, super important. I even just got off the phone with a guy who's an investor. He thought because the house was a rental house that only the renters had to have insurance on the property. And I had to explain to him, I think he's a new investor. And even if you buy it cash, I would strongly suggest that you have insurance put on that piece of property. If you're buying it cash and you don't have a mortgage, that the mortgage company requires you to have it, still get homeowners insurance on your house because anything can happen to that house. I mean, anything. I mean, a comet could come in and blow up your house. Sure, the renters are covered, but your structure isn't. And then you're out all that money, and then you have to reinvest all that money to put back in because you didn't have homeowners insurance. I think it's a no-brainer why you need homeowners insurance, but I just thought I'd reiterate that. Whether you're buying a home cash or not, always have homeowners insurance. Like that commercial, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. Is that farmers? Boom, 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 boom.
A new study by the International Insurance Society finds the U.S. leads the world with a 30% increase in the cost to replace a property in the last 5 years.
So let's talk about the things you can do if this is something that's happening to you. Like I said, I learned some lessons from all this. And I gotta tell you, before we even get started, do you know what one insurance company told us? This is no lie. They wanted us to take down the tree in the neighbor's yard that they are not covered under that insurance company. They wanted us to take down that tree because it was in jeopardy of hitting our house. Like, I can't go to the neighbor's house and tell them that I'm going to take down their tree because our insurance company. I just think it's crazy. Years ago, when I lived in Florida during Hurricane Charlie, State Farm had decided that they were going to pull out of Florida, and they were like, yeah, we're pulling out of Florida. And the governor at the time was like, yeah, go ahead. You can pull out of Florida. You no longer have to have any homeowners policies here. But when you do that, go ahead and take your auto policies with you and any other insurance you may have here in Florida with Florida residents. And then State Farm was like, oh, just kidding. Just kidding. We're not going to do that. Just kidding. Now they have the legal loophole to do it, and nobody's stopping them from pulling out of these areas, especially since we've had a rise in hurricanes, wildfires, all these natural disasters that are becoming more and more common than they were in years previously. The years previously when they were making total bank on all of our homeowners policies, when they were getting record profits, well, they're not making those record profits anymore. So they're willing to just cut us off at the knees and say, good luck. And any of you that have a mortgage, you have to, by law, have homeowners insurance. And the company that your mortgage is with, if you don't get insurance, they'll go ahead and attach their own insurance company on there. And when they do that, let me tell you, it is so expensive.
Louisiana Insurance Commissioner Jim Donnellan says the crisis so far has affected 85,000 people. 55,000 were seamlessly moved to a company out of Miami.
Again, that happened to us. We didn't realize that they went ahead and just found us a policy that they thought was really good. So that we had to, like I said, we were scrambling, finding another insurance company. We did find one. It was much cheaper than the one that the mortgage company was giving us. But holy cow, that made me freak out out. Because, you know, like I'm thinking all this time, I'm like, what if the house catches on fire? What if a tornado comes through? I'm always looking to the Gulf, seeing if another hurricane's coming through. This isn't one of those times of year that the hurricanes are coming through, but you know how you are when you're panicked. I was panicked. We got it covered. Here's the thing you can do if your insurance gets canceled. First things first, you're going to want to call an insurance broker. This is someone that has contacts with several different kinds of insurance companies. Some of them are kind of like names you've never heard of before, but at this moment, if you're in a pinch and it's at the right price, just get some kind of insurance on your property. Then you can shop around for better ones in the future. You don't have to be stuck with them, but try to get something. So the insurance company that the mortgage company decided to use for you, the one that's super expensive, can get off the books and you can pay these other people. Oh, this is another thing I want to tell you. A subscriber of mine is selling her house. She is about to close on her house, but her insurance policy ends 5 days before the closing. She's wanting to know if she can float those 5 days until she closes. No, you cannot. You can make a deal with your insurance company, though, that you only have to pay for those 5 days. Not all insurance companies are going to allow that, but you may be able to work something out with your insurance company. Do not do that. If your house is under contract, do not let your insurance policy lapse. The whole idea of insurance is anything can happen at any time, and you don't want something while you're moving out, kick over a pipe or some kind of wildfire happens. Anything could happen. Do never go without homeowners insurance. Not ever, 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 ever. If there's any piece of advice that you could ever take from me, it's that. Never, ever go without homeowners insurance on your home.
A group of research analysts say Texas is on pace to become the nation's leader on a list that could prove painful for homeowners. We're talking about the price for home insurance.
If you don't want to go the insurance broker route and you want to go ahead and investigate it themselves, I found an article by Forbes magazine that talks about the most affordable insurance companies when it comes to homeowners policies. And they said this is their top 5. Number 1 was Progressive Home Insurance, and that's the one actually I have. And if you bundle, your cars and all the other stuff into it, it actually makes it better. Here in Louisiana, though, our homeowners insurance is actually less than our car insurance because, Louisiana roads have a reputation. But at least it did bring down the overall cost by bundling it down a little bit. The next one is one that I never heard of before, and that is Westfield Insurance. So go ahead and write that one down so you can call them next. Then the next one you're going to want to reach out to is USAA, and this is only for veterans. I will tell you from my experience, we had a neighbor, we had our house hit by a tornado. They were also hit by a tornado. And when we called our insurance company, it took them like 5 days to come out and even talk to us. USAA was right next door that evening, gave them money instantaneously so they could buy groceries, and they had their roof replaced within 2 weeks. It was unbelievable. So I can honestly say that USAA is a very good homeowners insurance. And I know this because of all the people that I've worked with here in the lower part of Louisiana. We've gotten tons of hurricanes, and the people that have the best outcomes with their homes being fixed up and replaced in a timely manner has been USAA. So this is another one that I'm not too sure of. I haven't seen many people here in Louisiana have it, which is American Family Home Insurance. That's the number 4 one on the list. And the last one is Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side. Home insurance. But some of these big ones have already pulled out in areas of Florida, Louisiana, and California. Texas is on its way. Some of the areas in the Gulf Coast of Texas, they've already started seeing some insurance carriers go ahead and pull out. Since we are on the topic of insurance, I want to stress to you, if you happen to live in a coastal area that occasionally may have floodwaters in it, go ahead and get yourself some flood insurance. Some areas of Florida now are requiring, in order for you to get a homeowner's policy with them, you have to get the national flood insurance. This cost is pretty insignificant, honestly, especially if you live in an area considered a low hazard area. Like if you live in flood zone X, your policy is probably going to cost you about $600 a year. And that's $600 a year of peace of mind as far as I'm concerned. But if people that live on a limited budget, $600 is a lot of money. And if you're thinking of purchasing a house in a coastal area, make sure you price out the flood insurance. Most of the time when you are looking at properties, they'll actually list how much they're currently paying for their flood insurance. That could possibly change when you go ahead and purchase that house, because I've seen that before too, because they have rezoned the area and it didn't affect the previous owners, but it affects the new owners when it comes to flood insurance. I just wanted you to keep that in your mind, especially if it's an area that does sometimes flood. Go ahead, get yourself some flood insurance.
The average cost of home insurance has gone up 6% in the last year. And Texas now has the second highest price for home insurance in the entire nation.
There has to be a better way to be able to handle this. Is it like a statewide home insurance company? I don't know if that's necessarily the answer, but maybe some kind of incentive for people to be able to get insurance. If the insurance companies worked with homeowners a little bit better on how their houses should be rebuilt, or maybe instead of rebuilding those houses, tell them it's a loss and then give them the money for the house, what it was valued at, and tell them to move away from that section, especially in coastal areas that have lots of hurricanes. I know those places are beautiful, but whether you believe in climate change or not, it doesn't look like they're going to get any safer, and it doesn't look like these storms are going to just all of a sudden stop out of nowhere. It's just going to get progressively worse, like they've been telling us since the 90s. I mean, I'm talking about it because I'm on the Gulf Coast side, but it's gone all the way up through the East Coast as well. This insurance policy nightmare is heading your way. So just don't think because, I don't live in California, this isn't going to affect me. Yes, it is. It sure is. It's just a matter of time. So has your homeowner's insurance been canceled like my husband and I's? Let me know in the comments section below. To watch more videos about the housing market, you're going to want to watch these videos right here. My name is Kristina Smallhorn, your real estate whisperer, and I tell you all this because good real estate information matters.